Okay. How you doing, Stevie? How you doing?
Good evening, sir. I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Wasn't sure what happened there. Somehow, our mics just went like just muted and stuff. But yeah, it's been a quick 24-hour turnaround.
It has indeed.
Yeah. So it seems if we've got another guest. I mean, but it'd be great because you've been definitely keeping your ears to the ground when it comes to talent and stuff. So who are we going to be interviewing tonight?
We've got a sensational rising R&B star. I'll let her tell you where she's from. I discovered her about nearly 2 years ago now. She had a single out called Be Free, and I was playing it on my radio show, and I kind of tagged her in a video I made when I was played it in the studio. And I didn't think I'd hear anything from her at all, really. I wasn't expecting anything back, and she was kind of blown away that a record got played on the radio. She made a video, and yeah, I've been supporting her ever since, really.
Wow. Well, and Paulyae?
Yes.
Yes.
Paulyae, that is a name.
Yes. Anyway, I'm going to bring her in, and we're going to start the interview. Hello. How you doing?
Hi, I'm
Good
good.
evening.
It's good evening. Yeah. So we're out here in the UK and in different parts. But where are you based?
I am in the States. I'm in Texas.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Most of us in the UK and Europe will be familiar with Texas, with a show. I wasn't sure if you were alive, born by the time it was out, but Dallas with J.R. Ewing.
Yeah, around Dallas, the general Dallas area.
No, there was a big show called Dallas back in the 80s, I think.
Really?
Yes, I could see. Yes, it's he's
We're
giving
showing
away.
our age there, Namdi.
Which showed how it was massive and it was yeah. So out in um South Fork, there was a ranch called South Fork out in Dallas. But anyway, so how are you doing out in Dallas in Texas?
I'm doing amazing. It's super hot right now. Super hot.
Okay. Now for the people who are tuning in, how would they pronounce your name?
My name is pronounced Paulyae.
Paulyae. Is it sounds Frenchish, but Paulyae. Okay.
Yeah.
It's- Okay. Well, Stevie said he's and one of the things I've listened to some of your tracks, and I was really impressed by, especially as an independent artist, to be able to put out some really good music, not just the production, but the singing.
Thank
But
you.
but before we get there, it's always good to just get a slight understanding of how you got into music as a kid.
Yeah. So I actually started singing when I was about 7 years old. Like my mom, she used to always sing with this vibrato, and I just thought it sounded really pretty. And I would just watch her and listen. And one day I remember I was 7. I went up to my room, and I was just trying to emulate my mom. I was trying to see, I was trying to do the vibrato with my voice, and I was just practicing singing and sounding like that. And my dad overheard because apparently I sounded really good, and he made me come downstairs to the living room. He called my mom, and he's like, "She can sing." And ever since singing lessons. I was doing singing competitively and stuff like that. So it stopped for a minute when I started playing volleyball in college because in high school I kind of had to choose between sports and choir and singing. So I chose sports to get my full tuition scholarship and everything. But after college, I went back into the swing of doing covers and stuff like that. And then one day I just started creating for the first time, and it's been amazing. I feel like it was just a great idea for me to start doing that again.
Okay, okay. So, the fact that you didn't know the show Dallas says that you have a younger generation than us. Growing up, who are your inspirations or people that you listen to?
Well, I am young, but I always listened to music that was before my time. Like when I was about 12 years old, I was literally walking around listening to old Mariah Carey, like Dream Lover and stuff like that. And I'm sure it was weird to others, because 12-year-olds aren't listening to that kind of stuff typically. But Mariah Carey, Ashanti were two of my big ones I would listen to a lot as far as singing.
Okay, okay.
JoJo as well.
Who?
And
I missed that last part.
JoJo, also
Yeah.
Christina Aguilera.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And so growing up though, where are you able to so you mentioned singing lessons and what are singing lessons involved? Because most of the artists that we know from the 90s, most of their lessons were 90% of them were in the church, so they were learning how to sing there, and they took it. A few went to did sang choir in school, but for yourself, how did you start perfect your singing?
So for 5 years, as a preteen into mid to teenage years, I did singing lessons at the studio. It was by this guy called, his name is Sunny Rios, and he's still doing singing lessons until this day. He's an older guy. He's been doing it for years and years, and he literally does lessons for anyone as young as 2 years old, literally, old as 79. Like, and he just taught me a lot about how to open up my vowels and stuff like that. And so, like, I was just learning that and learning my range and lightening my vocal tone up a little bit because I used to have a very heavy kind of voice. And now it's much lighter, as you can hear in my music. And that's because of those singing lessons, because that was his goal for me, was to like lighten and just kind of like, alter my range and stuff.
And in those days when you said your dad heard and he was saying, okay, we need to get a singing lessons, what was the end goal? Because I'm just wondering, is it just to keep you what was their particular purpose they were thinking about getting you into singing lessons at that young age?
Yeah, I suppose they just saw my gift and, just wanted to go all the way with it. Like I was doing different competitions and stuff like that. Like it was really, really active for a while during my childhood, honestly, until sports came along. That was really what I was all about. So they just wanted me to make it. My dad, like he saw the gift in me. My mom saw the gift in me, and they just did everything they could to make sure that we capitalized on that. And it's worth it now because I'm doing something with it now.
Yeah.
It
But you
all it
meant
all it all was worth it.
Go ahead. But you mentioned sports, though. Um, what you said for volleyball. Now, um, I mean, it's probably not as big as say basketball for females and soccer. But how well were you play? Were you playing for in college base volleyball?
I was doing amazing. I got first team all conference 3 years in a row. I was all American, all
Wow.
region, all everything. Like I was really good. It was a good time.
I've
Wow.
seen a I've seen a video clip of her actually with a volleyball. It's like some like live TV commentary as she
Yeah,
flies in the air and badunk with the ball.
Did you ever think of Olympics? I mean, I think that was the pinnacle.
at first, like, when I was fresh out of college, I was still in the zone, so I was thinking about going overseas and stuff like that, but I just didn't go that route. I don't know. I think I went back into my true purpose, and I think the singing was like my true purpose because that's what I've loved since I was like a little child. And I'm a strong believer in whatever you've been really good at since you were a little child, that's what you're meant to do. Like whatever you saw yourself doing when you were about 3 years old, that's what your purpose is.
Wow. Now,
Yeah.
so, I mean, how did you balance? I'm just wondering. You're in college. You're playing volleyball. Did you? What did you major in?
I majored in psychology, actually. I love to help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, just general psychology, or what's
Yeah, just general psych. Nothing.
okay.
Yeah.
And but then when did you during the volleyball time? What the music was it at the back burner, or were you still singing, or
Not really. Like because it was just so demanding in college, especially during the season. We always have to be together. We're always doing workouts. We're either it's working out or games or we're having class or we have to study for class. So there was no time for me to just, like, oh, let me sing and let me sing in front of the camera and promote myself. So there was no time for that at all. So it had to be put on pause during that time.
okay, okay. And so, when did the bug return to get back into singing?
That's a good question. So, I, like I said, so after I graduated, shortly after, I felt the urge to start singing, but I wasn't thinking that I could write or like do anything like that. So I would just sing covers of other people's songs and post them and stuff like that. This was fresh out of college, so I just slowly started getting back into that, and that's all that I really enjoyed or just wanted to do. And one day I met a friend. I was looking for a guitarist because I wrote my very first song and I just wanted someone with a guitar to just, to just bring it to life for me. And he happened to actually be a marketing specialist and someone who does a lot for the music business. And I didn't know this. So as I'm singing and we're vibing and everything, he tells me, he's like, you actually are very marketable. He's like, you have the look, you have this voice, you could really go somewhere with this. Like you could actually become like a music artist and a creator. And I'm like, me, I don't know, but he planted that seed and it just took a couple of months before I'm like, you know what, let me just try to make a song. And I listened to a beat and I didn't know, but when I listen to beats, apparently I can write so fast. Like I can write songs in 20 minutes tops as long as the beat speaks to me and the melody and everything. So that was when I first started creating. He planted that seed in my mind and I've just been going ever since.
Okay.
She can write songs as fast as she can speak.
Everything's fast.
Everything's fair. I mean, there's one thing you said there that really gave me a sense of how the industry is, because he said you had the look and the image, then he went to the talent, and that could sometimes be an unfortunate. It's a good compliment, but it can be unfortunate that people then might forget. Actually, you talked about being at 7 and your parents recognizing your voice, giving you training, so being a real singer. But then what he's saying is it takes more than just the talents. It takes a full package in order to make it. How did you take that part of it?
I took it positively because I always get complimented in that area. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're here. No,
Okay.
sorry.
No, I took it as a compliment because I get complimented in that area a lot. They're like, oh, you have the look and you have the voice. Like, you have both. Like, I get that all the time. So I'm like, okay. It actually motivated me. I'm like, you know what? I do put myself together a certain way. And he's saying I have the look, and he obviously sees that I have the voice. Like, it really just made the light bulb go off, honestly. Like, wow, you know what? I could do this. Like, I do have it all. You know what I mean? So it just took someone to plant that little seed in my mind. But I didn't take it offensively or anything.
Your hairdo's looking good today, Paulyae.
Thank
you. Now, you mentioned this, Steve, as if her hair's in a different way most of the time, and she made an effort today. Is that the case?
Well,
I don't know, because you have more familiar with. Okay, no.
Listen, this lady lives the R&B lifestyle. I see her at the weekend. She's out partying, singing in the clubs, in the bars, looking hot. I see it every weekend. This girl's busy.
Wow.
On her IG, of course, not in person, but on her IG.
Okay,
follow her on her IG in a story. She's doing well at the weekends. Put it that way.
Yeah, I try. I love your beard. Did you hear me?
Thank you.
I dig it a lot. Just saying.
So I mean, what? Give us an understanding. When the bug came in and you started to write, what's the roadmap? Because it's a lot different from when we got into music. There was a very clear roadmap. An A&R would see you singing in some places, then have an audition, you get a record deal. You go into the recording studio. They do the whole marketing campaign, and the whole world sees you. Labels barely have A&Rs, and it is pretty much a different beast. For yourself, when you really thought, okay, I'm going to do this, what's the roadmap?
Everything these days, there's so many different avenues to get there. Because like you said, back then it was kind of just one way. You get discovered, somebody might see you when you're out, if you get lucky. But now there's Instagram, there's so many different social media platforms. People get famous from a viral video or just singing covers on YouTube or Instagram or something like that. Like Stevie found me through Instagram. I'm doing this through Instagram. So I don't know, I really just had a lot of faith and I just manifest a lot. So I just trusted that what I was doing was aligning with my purpose, and what I was singing about was something that could help people. And that's all I was focused on, was as long as people hear it and I'm putting it out there and it helps people with their situation and it makes them feel the way I feel when I wrote it, then I'm just fulfilling my purpose. And I feel like when you do that and you just kind of trust God with your journey, everything will fall into place and you don't have to stress yourself out about the roadmap. You know what I mean? Because I feel like the how is really not up to us. It's just what we do and our intentions behind it, and how it happens and how we get discovered. I feel like that's all up to God, and we should just leave it up to Him. So that's just how I do everything, and it's been working for me thus far. So
Okay. You
yeah.
mentioned the type of music. So what is what defines what you sing, write, and sing about?
Everything that I sing about is meant to empower and uplift people. I want people to realize that it's so important to love yourself, and it's fun to love yourself because it makes life so much easier when you realize that all you need is yourself. You don't need anything worldly. Like so much music, mainstream music is focused on, money or a man or attaining something, a physical or sex or whatever. And like that people automatically hear that every day and they feel like I need one of those things to make me happy. And I realized, because I'm such a spiritual person, that all we need is ourselves. And we just need to look within, and the happiness is in here. And we can literally decide to be happy. And we don't need to worry about anybody else. And that's true freedom. So that's my underlying motivation when I write music, just to make people feel good. And that's what my entire album is about, is just, implanting those new messages instead of just, money, sex, whatever. I'm implanting those messages into my music so that people can hear that and it can fill them up with that.
Okay. I mean, if I mean the general. You mentioned about working with the beats, um, and you getting a guitarist when you first started. What happens now? Did you get somebody producing and then you wrote to it, or did you sort of write and then somebody came in and said let's co-produce together, or how did it work?
No, my brother, he actually does a lot of rapping, and he has a producer that he was friends with, a friend of a friend. And so I reached out to him in the beginning of my singing journey, just to see if he could make some beats for me or make a version of a beat for me. You know what I mean? For the different songs that I would write. And when he first heard like my finished product of the first song that I made with him, like he just wanted to stick with me. Like he's like, I see our potential in you. You're different. Like you're better. Like you're gonna make it. Like he just saw all of that. So we still work together until this day. So we're literally wherever I go, he's gonna go. So he's a great guy. His name is King.
King. Okay, that's a real royal name. But what's the and I'm just trying to see now. So um how does your marketing, or not the marketing, but your sort of your roadmap when it comes to, okay, do you put out a single, sort of push it out there, do a video, um or what's the journey of an independent artist? Because if when other independents watch it, it'll be interesting for them to figure out.
Yeah, you want me to give out my blueprint for the world?
Well, no, well, just your
I'll
journey.
tell you what, Namdi, she's quite an entrepreneur in terms
Okay.
of how she promotes the singles now. I mean, she'll
Oh,
get onto this later, but she's built quite a bit of a loyal fan base back there. She's got a. I'll let her explain. She'll come onto it later, but I'm really impressed by what she does. Every time she releases a single, she throws a party
wow.
and she
Yeah,
performs as well. And it's over time she's gradually got a bigger audience, really, where she can
yeah,
self-sustain herself, single to single, doing this. That's what it seems like, anyway.
yeah. No, so for every single that I come out with, I do so it started off, yeah, I do a single release party, like Stevie said. So for example, this last project that I did, it was called Have You Ever? So when I have a song, I promote the song, and then I also promote that I'm having a release party for that date. So I'm promoting the release date of the song, and I'm also promoting the party on that release date. So it all happens on the same day generally. And then I kind of have people, reach out to me through Instagram when I go out. I introduce myself as a singer. I'm very friendly. I attract a lot of people, and I invite new people out there and as well as digitally. So I'm really doing the groundwork and I'm doing the online work. So I'm doing both at the same time. And people will reach out to me and want to come to my party and stuff like that. So, and I do it months in advance. I usually do it about a couple of months in advance when it's going to be a solid event, just so people who have kids and have work, we can eliminate those variables and stuff. So I promote for a nice amount of time. and it has been producing really good turnout. And some of the times I will perform. Either I'll reveal the video or I'll perform. So this last time I did a performance and everyone was singing the words and it was just full and it was great. And it's lucrative for me. And I do open bar. So everybody loves that I have the bottles for free drinks all night and stuff like that.
Wow.
So everybody gets to have fun. I make money and I get to intermingle with everybody. And everybody always has a good time. I've never had any issues. So I'm really grateful for that process being as successful as it's been.
So next time we turn up, Nandy, there'll be free orange juice for me and you all night.
I'll buy orange juice just for Stevie. Nope, that one. Here's all the alcohol and here's the orange juice.
Yeah.
So
talk about is it? I know you've got a few singles, but do you have an album that you've got done?
Yes, I released my debut album last July on my birthday, July 2nd, 2022. It's called The Feeling.
Oh, okay. So it's by next week by the weekend it'll be a year out, right?
On my birthday, it'll be a year. Yep, it'll be my album's birthday and my.
I didn't realize it had gone that quick. Actually, it only felt like a few months ago that you released that album.
Oh,
it's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy.
And I assume you're having a birthday party plus an album release, an album celebration party.
Well, I'm not. My latest release that I'm doing is going to be July 1st. I wanted to do this one on my birthday too, but my birthday's on a Sunday, and I don't think I should release songs on a Sunday. So it's going to be July 1st, this Saturday. It's my newest song called Left Right, and it's a really fun summer vibe. So I'm going to have a pool party music video shoot for that. And it's going to be a little more intimate because I'm renting out this private pool space. So I've been inviting people to that just for the visual and to also celebrate my birthday. But on my actual birthday, I am going out to California. So I'm having the pool music video shoot July 8th. So next Saturday.
Okay.
Get your swimming trunks ready now, dear. For the pool party.
For the pool party. But so tell us about the album, just in general, the song, the themes, the message.
The newest song?
Well, because you've got the album. It's just you're releasing singles, or have you got the whole album done?
Well,
you released the album last year.
Yeah, I released an album last year, July 2nd, and I've only done singles since then. I didn't
from the album, or new singles. Yeah, from the album. So I was just saying, give us an understanding of the album itself. Is there story behind the album? Is it the themes?
Yeah, so the album is all about just learning to love yourself and accept yourself in the most positive way possible. Like, I don't like making sad music and stuff. So my album, I feel, actually tells a story of, you're happy, we're going to go through trials and tribulations, but everything is solution based with my music on that album. It's like, yeah, we're not going to focus on the problem and we're not going to write so much about the issue. We're going to write about the solution and how we're going to come back from it and how good it's going to feel. You know what I mean? Or what we do to release any negative feelings that we're having and enter into the positive. So yeah, my whole album is just a story of coming into yourself and just learning that it's okay to just be you and you don't need anyone else. So that's the whole purpose of my album. So it's really special to me because of that.
I love the song. There's quite a few songs that album that I love, actually. The Greatest. Tell me about that one.
Everybody loves that song. That's like a lot of people's favorite song. It's so funny. The Greatest is so different than any other song on my album. So that's a super empowering song. Sure. And I wrote that song really fast, surprisingly. It's really just about just recognizing who you are. It's kind of like a pump up kind of song. Like, you look yourself in the mirror and you're like, I'm the greatest. Like, that's how it should make you feel, because in the song, I'm basically talking about a person that maybe I've fallen out with. And, sometimes when you fall out with people and you've been so great to them and something happens and you're no longer, you're estranged or whatever, it's like they should, when someone asks about me or they ask you about me, tell the truth. Tell them that I was the greatest. Tell them I was the greatest. Tell them the wonderful things that I did for your life. You know, all those things. Like don't lie. Don't throw dirt on my name just because we don't talk anymore. Like, here's who I was to you, and I am the greatest. And it's like a pumping yourself up kind of song. And people really like it. Like, people really take to it. So that makes me pretty happy because it's so different.
I mean, as you were saying that, it brings parallels to Mary J's "Good Morning Gorgeous."
The greatest?
No, the theme of what you're describing, how
Self-empowerment.
Yeah, the theme of that, because Mary said it's very similar with her "Good Morning Gorgeous," and it's about trying to really speak to yourself. So that's and as easy and as straightforward as you've described it, it is something that most people tend to not realize how much you have to really speak into your own life and be very self and reaffirm yourself. So actually, being able to sing along to a song like that and actually believe in it, it would be something that I would hope will make a difference to people.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
And I wonder how much of your psychology major goes into your writing and your thinking, or is it something else that inspires you?
It's not psychology. I think, okay, so I majored in psychology because of who I am as a person. I'm not who I am as a person because I majored in psychology, if that makes sense. Some people, they feel like, oh, you analyze because you study psychology. It's like, no, I study psychology because I like to analyze. You know what I mean? So I'm very much analytical. I use psychology in my everyday life, like when I'm just, dissecting myself and situations with others. I'm breaking things down, seeing, the root of why someone may act the way they act. But no, I don't really put a lot of psychology into my music. I feel like that would be I feel like that would be too deep. So I just try to keep it light. I use a lot of my spirituality in my music. That's what I channel when I'm writing, just whatever I'm feeling in my spirit, in my veins. I feel like that speaks truth, you know what I mean? And it's way more effortless.
Stevie, you were about to say something.
Yeah, it's what I see when new artists come out, upcoming artists or artists that say been around a few years. They it's like a 3-phase step that I notice, and some artists don't get past phase 2, and phase 2 I always feel is like it's like an emulation phase where they're still emulating like artists that they've kind of grew up on or influenced by. Like with Paulyae, obviously I hear Mariah in your music, I hear Aaliyah in your music, I hear Brandy in your music, and then then I'll watch an artist come out of that phase into what is really their own sound. It's almost like they reach that greatness sound. I don't want to see Paulyae, falling into this emulation phase and not coming out of it. I mean, how do you feel about that?
That's a really interesting question. I feel like I stepped into something a little more real whenever I did Have You Ever, to be honest. Like, I wasn't aiming to sound like anything. I did call it a Brandy spinoff because the Have You Ever kind of came out when I was writing, but that wasn't what was in my head when I wrote it, if that makes sense. I did that for like marketing purposes, but that was my first time actually talking about something vulnerable, like talking about love and what it's like when I love hard, you know what I mean? And just kind of just speaking to my emotions more. Because like I said in my album, it's all about, forget that, be free, be happy, whatever. And I'm, finding this sound that's very much 2000s. But with Have You Ever, a fun fact is that I didn't even go for a 2000s type of beat. Like, it's just the way that I approached the song just came out that way. And I just think that's really who I am. Because I don't think I wasn't trying to emulate anyone. It just sounds that way. I don't know, like, that was literally completely natural, and people were still saying, oh, it sounds like 2000s, and I'm like, I guess that's just my sound at this point, because that wasn't even the goal with this one, but that's why I'm just like, you know what, Have You Ever? Brandy had that classic Have You Ever, and this is my new modern version.
I mean, what made you kind of stand out? Because I know you've done them kind of R&B tracks that, I can hear an Aaliyah influence in there, and I can hear like a Mariah influence, but like was going back to early when I heard The Greatest, I thought, hold on a minute, I thought Paulyae can do something here that just sounds like nothing else,
Yeah,
So
that was different. Yeah, and that's why it makes me so happy that people love that song the most, because that is something that was really different. So when you do something that's totally different than everything else and people like it the best, that's actually a really good sign. And that's my go-to performance song anywhere that I go. Like even now, like if someone's like, "You have one song to perform, the greatest is the one," because every time I sing that, it just gets everybody's attention. Like just the intensity of it. So that's really, yeah, that's my go-to performance song for sure. I feel like sometimes it just takes that one that's just a little bit one off, and that's the one that everybody likes, and that might be the one that ends up blowing up. You know what I mean? So yeah, and it's crazy you say I sound like Aaliyah, but Aaliyah is actually not a music inspiration for me at all. Like I cannot even sing an
I wouldn't say
Aaliyah.
you sound like Ali. I'm saying that you draw influence in some of your lyrics, and obviously going back to Be Free.
Oh yeah, Be Free. No, that's the only thing. Every time I
Yeah.
cannot sing an Aaliyah song from beginning to end, not one. Which is crazy because everybody thinks, because I did the Be Free thing, that Aaliyah is my musical influence. She's my style inspiration. Like she's always been my style inspiration before music, but my musical inspiration is more the Mariah and the Christina and those types of things. But my engineer thinks that I sound just like Aaliyah. When I had my first session with her, she's like, "You sound identical to Aaliyah. It's weird." And I've never tried to. It's just something that people have always compared me to and that they've heard. So I think that's interesting. It's a compliment, though. She has a lot of
I
classics.
don't think you do. I'll be honest. I don't think you do, but
I
that's
don't
just
think
my
I
opinion.
do either. I don't think I do either.
I can hear. I can hear. If anything, I can hear more Mariah in you than anybody else.
Thank you, because that's my true inspo. But everybody hears something different, I guess, sometimes.
Always, we've lost Namdi.
Oh goodness, I didn't realize I was speaking. I didn't realize it was on mute. But I think one of the challenges that a lot of us of a different generation have with R&B now is the fact that the most of the female artists tend to sound very similar. So if you don't really know them, you can listen to a song on the radio and not know who's who. So that the distinct voice is missing. It could be that they all feel as if this is a safe lane to sing in. It could be the auto tunes. We're fans. We don't really know. But then also the subject matter with most of the female artists, they're becoming like men, singing very explicit and yeah, whatever you and it's almost as if this is how we are now, and it's like wow, it's a little, we were used to women singing about, you need to treat me right and love me well and take me out and I want to have a, and more inspirational type of songs for men to live, to stand us up. But it feels as if with female hip hop being such a commercial success that the female R&B acts are like, well, we need to get in on this, and they're singing in the same vein. How are you trying to make sure that you're not taking the fast train of what seems to be successful and being able to stay true to your own values and your own inspiration as to what you want to sing about?
That's a big
I
question.
the inner message that I had in my core when I started. Like I tried not to stray from that at all. So like I said, everything's about material, like what you said. So I try to focus on looking inward with my music. I try to focus on things that are not tangible, which is like freedom and, your self-love and your power and things like that we really need. I try to focus on just keeping it about that with my music. And I feel like that alone separates me from what's already going on, because nobody and people who are singing about that, it's just not catchy sometimes. So that's kind of the catch 22 with that. It's like some people are singing about those things, but it's like the melody and it's just kind of might be a little drab and people don't really want to listen to it because maybe it's boring. So the key for me is always to have a positive message, but make it catchy and have a nice beat where you bob your head and you want to turn it up, but the message is positive. So I think that's the key, is just putting both of those things together.
Yeah, I mean it's the now you have how you what's it called? Um, have you ever What's the is that the new one that's out now up till the first, and then something new was coming out, or is that's
That's the new one that just dropped June 10th.
June 10?
I've been promoting it in April.
Okay. The I saw one of the videos which said Brandy Take. What and maybe I'm still what is it? Was it um an inspiration of her how she sang it, or
No, not at all. I did that for marketing purposes. So when I wrote the song, I just wanted to write about. I feel like I'm single, right? And there's men who want to pull me out of my bubble. You know, they want to love me or something or whatever. They want me to love them, but I was so overwhelmed, and I decided to write a song about the way that I love. And it's like, do you have a raw heart? Do you love the way I love? And when I was writing, the Have You Ever Loved Somebody just came out when I was writing. And then I thought about Brandy after it came out naturally. And I was like, you know what? I'll just call it a Brandy spinoff to get media attention from it. You know what I mean? To make it stand out just as a marketing thing. But no, it didn't come from Brandy. I wasn't
okay.
listening to the Brandy song or anything. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's just what
I've
came.
noticed your video, the hits and the views you get on your videos have shot right up as well on your YouTube channel. Have you noticed that? Have you checked it? Because I'm like, Be Free's now up to like 27,000 views.
Yes. Yeah. Be Free did really, really well. And that was my debut. So that was really motivating for me.
I mean, and now they're all going above 10,000 views. No more, you know. Can't Kill My Vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another one of people's favorites. I give Can't Kill My Vibe to DJs out here, and they always really like it. Yeah. I'm just
Yeah. What'd you say?
as you said, I'm super grateful. I'm just so grateful for how my journey has been going and the where it's gonna go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, so what so we've seen. I mean, and it's really exciting to hear a different take on how you do things. I remember when I interviewed Kevin Ross, and he was talking about, okay, since he got left Motown and went independent, he was sharing about, look, there's so many avenues to how to make money as an independent, not relying on the album sales and all this stuff. And then you start talking about, doing your release parties and these kind of theme things. And that's the really impressive to see you take on things like that. How did you where did you get the thoughts about let me be very proactive in my career instead of just putting music out and just hope for the best?
Yeah. So whenever the guy that I mentioned earlier that I said planted the seed into my head, my friend, we're good friends now. So we had conversations back in the day, like this is before I had my first party or anything. And he just kind of gave me the idea of, maybe get people together for a release party, maybe sometimes or whatever, even if it's at your house. And I was like, I didn't do it right away, but I started doing that last January 2022. My very first release kickback was right here in my apartment. So I tried it out and, I bought bottles and I'm like, okay, since I'm buying all these bottles, it's unlimited, I'll just charge $5 and then come inside my house and drink all night for free and everything like that, right? I'm saving everybody money. That worked out really well. And so I did about 3 of those. I did that for my song This Time, No More, and Bounce Back. And after the third one, my whole apartment was just like too full of people. And I was like, I'm going to move this to a different location now. And then when I moved it to a bigger location, that was my album release party. So that was my first bigger party at an actual house with a pool in the back. And that was full of people. And I charged a little bit more. I charged $11 or whatever. And so I made more money. And I'm like, you know what? People are starting to understand how fun my parties are. They're understanding what they're getting from it. So that's whenever I moved on to renting out venues and just charging $20 at the door. And it became so lucrative for me. Because $20 per person with a venue full of people and everybody's drinking for free, nobody's complaining. I'm making the money enough to really pay my rent off of this one party in one night. So it literally just progressed for me. So it's been such a blessed process. And it all came from an idea of like, hey, maybe you could get some people together to celebrate the song. I'm like, sure. And just to see the idea grow and to just see me grow along with it, it's just amazing to watch the progress. Like I just yesterday
Seriously, so
posted my one of my kickback tier on my close friend story on Instagram, where you just see a few people, freestyling at my party in here. And then right after it, I posted my most recent party of Have You Ever, and you see everybody, the whole venue with their phones out, and I'm performing, and I'm like, just seeing that back to back is just so amazing because sometimes we can forget how much that we've actually grown and we can forget how far we've come. So just looking at old things versus what's happening now, it's just so much gratitude, and I just think it's amazing because it doesn't have to be like that. So I just feel really blessed.
What about your parents? What does Dad think about the 7-year-old daughter that he says, "Oh, we need to get her singing lessons"?
Yeah, my dad passed away in 2019,
Oh,
actually.
sorry to
So
hear
my
that.
mom is like fully supportive, and I feel my dad's energy with me. With everything, like with I do not like to cry. I'm not gonna cry, but with everything that I do, like I feel my dad's energy with me, and I just know that he's proud. And it's just something that he would really love to see me doing. So I just think that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
God, I hate crying. I hate it. I hate it. Okay, I'm good. I'm good now.
Okay. Why?
Sorry.
Why do you say you hate crying?
It's so vulnerable. I have this thing against vulnerability in front of people. I don't cry in front of people. I don't really, just stuff.
listen, you lost your dad. It's a big thing, Paulyae. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
understand? We all suffer big losses, But like you say, you're carrying your old man's energy with you, which is you can see it, you can clearly see that, and it's you're coming out with greatness.
Yeah. I actually did I released Have You Ever on my dad's birthday, June 10th. So
Wow.
instead of doing something sad, or being sad on his birthday like I usually am, I decided to do something that would make me happy, which is my party and having everybody come out on June 10th. Like I didn't even think about it and I was super happy. So that's a
No,
fun.
really positive.
Yeah. I mean, it's but as an artist, yes, it's and I do hark back to the fact that you started a journey talking about how he heard, and that was the trigger for your singing lessons. So it is natural how proud he will be. He is seeing what you've achieved, and when I'm we're not just saying this just as a just to pat you on the back, but it's part of why we're doing this, why we're spending time with new and up and coming artists, because we know that it's not as easy today to get yourself heard as it was. And but one of the things that we do know, based on our history of either talking to 90s and 80s R&B acts, is that what makes you strong, unique. If you keep that going, then it will find its way, and not to compromise. And having the memory of your dad and having this vision, it's going to really serve you well going forward.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that a lot. Wow.
Yes.
I mean, I can see how hard it's getting now for just for new, not just newer artists, but let's just say artists who are not signed to a major label. I mean, what they're up against now is algorithms, and that they're up against these, what they're called bots on social media. That just this algorithm is constantly going. You've either got to pay like the social media platform to get yourself out there. But I watched some. It's on YouTube. There's a guy out there who virtually invented these algorithms and these bots, and he's virtually saying now that unless you pay somebody big money, like 95% of mainly artists, they haven't got a chance. They have not got a chance of breaking through. It's so against them now. But I see what you're doing with your party. You're not just relying on online social media. You're building a fan base in your own area. And I think eventually I can see someone from a label spotting that, going, this girl's got her own fan base here. the whole of she's literally the whole of Texas knows who Paulyae is. All the bars, the clubs, people. Maybe we can do something with this girl. That's how it used to be. That is how artists got signed in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also if I think if music is something you love and you're passionate about, and you've got a message and a story, my only hope is that that doesn't ever get compromised for fame,
No. Yeah.
because that's is that's there's the and I always hop out when the guy says, oh, you've got the looks, you got the image and the voice, because that's how it starts off with. And as I said, we have spoken to lots of people who made it in the 90s and the 80s and 2000s, and you know and they tell their stories about, once things dried up, it stopped. And the fact that you, as Stevie has keep saying about being an entrepreneur and starting it like this, um, and if you stay true to that lane, I can only see that getting bigger, where you can control your destiny, where
Yeah.
you are, when somebody comes to say, "Can we partner with you?" as opposed to "Let's sign you," where
Yeah.
you make the calls, because um, if because people when they start to see things going, it's important that you keep control of what you want to do, and it doesn't meet your values, then it's like no, and you just continue where you're going, because that's where somebody loves what they're doing, and it doesn't matter if you can do it in front of 150,000 people or do it in front of 100 people, you still love singing. If that is the case, then of course positive vibes and positive energy and positivity always finds its way at the right time in the right space. And yeah, that's just my hope, as as somebody who just hopes for the best, and just wants more positive
Yeah, but
music out there.
Nandy, would you blame her, right? Say someone from Universal turned up in Texas and went, here's $5 million, sign that contract, and the 5 million's yours. Could you blame her for taking it? That that could change your life potentially.
um I would hope that I, 2 years ago, I would have said, "Wow, jump at it." Um, Probably over the last 2 years, speaking to over 100 people, um, and hearing their stories, I probably would be very much of a, if you've talked about a message, you've talked about your values, you've talked about um, what keeps you going, and you talked about your legacy that your dad has, and that's probably why I feel a little bit more connected into really making sure that, wow, just staying on that path. And I spoke about how a lot of the messages that females are putting out right now are really having a really harmful effect on how our young boys and men are seeing women. Because before, men used to sing like that and women were like, no. When the whole West Coast hip hop came out, and the way m- they were talking to women, and it seems if women were responding, it just had a very big impact. And a lot of it's culturally too, as a black man thinking, well, what an impact it had on our community when the music stopped becoming about love and became about denigrating women. And now we have women, young women, singing the same way, and I'm thinking, wow, what is it happening to our young girls? So I so I might be too old school, but that is just my hope, that hearing you and then thinking, wow, she really has something different, not just musically, but just being level headed and things. That's just me just hoping that if 5 million came, and it means a compromise, long term or short term, that I hope you'd think differently.
I would people who is an attorney to read any contract that would be that big. That's always what I told myself, because I've never signed anything thus far, because nothing is worth me signing. But I would definitely give it over to my uncle, have him read it and thoroughly and tell me exactly what's going on. If there's any sort of, soul selling involved. No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I mean, Stevie, just sort of, I mean, if we can lighten up the pace and stuff, and just tell me, Stevie, because as a radio presenter, when you're introducing Paulyae to your public and to the fans, I mean, what is it that you really want us to be able to see and connect with her, that sometimes, music alone isn't.
She reminds me of all the, the really good female artists we grew up on. The really strong R&B singers that we grew up on. She's got that positive vibe. She does a mix of ballads, mid tempos, up tempos. Look at her. She can dance. I've seen her perform live. She's the full package. I'm frustrated because I wish I was working at Universal. I had $5 million to go. You know what, Paulyae? Here it is. Go and do what you want. Go and record what you want. Just give me a few albums back, please, and we'll do the rest. Anyone watching this, please go to Paulyae's YouTube, check her videos out, and you'll see what we're talking about. You'll see what all the fuss is about, really.
Yeah, we're gonna put it up there. One of the things, Steve, as I said, because we've been doing this for a couple of weeks now, and
also Paulyae, do you know he's got Rodney Jerkins' Dark Child on speed dial?
He's got who?
He's got Rodney Jerkins' Dark Child on speed dial.
No. Who on speed dial? I don't think I know who that is. So yeah.
It means he can directly message Dark Child.
No, but she doesn't know who
That's
Rodney.
What he's got on his phone.
But she doesn't know who Rodney Jerkins is.
She does.
But it sounds like a big deal the way you said it.
No, see, but do you know which producers do you know? Some of the bigger producers. I mean, I know most people might know Timbaland, but which other sort of old school music producers are you familiar with?
I was gonna say Timbaland, but you took that one.
You could have reversed it, yeah. But anyone else? Do you any of the others?
DJ Mustard. I've always felt like I would want to work with him. Okay. DJ Mustard. Every single song he produces is a hit, automatically.
I mean, Brandy's Full Moon album in the main was produced by, a lot of it was produced by Rodney Jerkins.
Oh, Mustard's not old school. I'm sorry. You said old school. I don't really know any other old school producers, actually. Rodney
did Wasn't Man Enough for You, did Say My Name for Destiny's Child.
Oh, wow.
Produced the whole Brandy Full Moon album.
You know what? You will know the songs when you hear
it. Guinness, I probably did too many hits for me to even talk about.
And I mean, that new Burna Boy record, Sitting on Top of the World, that's just ripped off from Dark Child as well.
Yeah. So I mean,
dial?
Pardon?
Sorry.
Have him on speed dial?
No, well, so I've interviewed, as I said, a lot of artists, both the producers and the artists, and some of the producers, when I do talk to them, I do. That it's becoming, since we started doing this, Steve and I started to focus on talking to new and upcoming R&B artists. I do, like when I spoke with a gentleman called Chucky Booker, who was the music director for, he was an artist, but he also the music director for Janet's Rhythm Nation tour, and he's touring with Lionel Richie now. But people like him and other producers, I keep talking to them about, why don't they make themselves available to produce for up and coming artists, because they've got a wealth of experience, and they could just put their name on, I've put this track together for this particular artist to see what it does, or try and create some type of buzz where the old school producers and artists collaborate with new artists. Whether it's a singer, hook, or something like that, because they've got a legacy name, which can be tied into some of the new things that you're trying to do. Right. So things like that, I keep thinking about how to leverage some of those relationships with what you're doing, and with the people who are not looking to I wouldn't expect them to start saying, okay, how much am I going to get paid and stuff. It's just more like, what, I can sing, let me just put my voice on this and help it, and just just do something to help you move forward. And so those are kinds of things that Stevie was referring to, that some of the connections of people that we've interviewed and have relationships with.
In other words, let's see if we can try and get Paulyae a break. That's basically it's hint, Andy. With all these name drops you do, with all these producers and big artists that you've got in your arsenal.
Well, if you ever think about doing a duet with a male R&B, just a male. So if you write a song and think, oh, a male singer could be good in this, then then it'd be something to stand, and I can start thinking about some of the '90s R&B males that we have relationships with, to see, hey, could they jump on a track with you and just feature
today. Like, I've always wanted to do a duet with a male singer. I think about it a lot, to be honest. So it's funny that you mentioned that. And I'm sure I could think of a song from my album that could use a remix with a male edition, or one of my newer songs.
Okay.
Short, so that's the positive thing. So like, my songs are very short, so a lot of my songs should definitely be extended with somebody else, joining in and creating that sort of vibe, for sure.
Your favorite male R&B artist is coming to my city very soon, Paulyae.
Jacquees or Chris Brown?
Yes, that's the one. Jacquees. He calls himself the king of R&B, apparently.
Not the king, but I really do love his music. He has an old school kind of vibe to him and his music, to be honest. That's why I like him a lot. He does really nice harmonies. He creates some beautiful melodies. He just acts in a way that can turn some people off, like saying he's a king of R&B. Like, that's just not smart, because then people don't want to listen, because they feel like it's respectful. But he's really good, so it's like, just be humble, because you're really talented. Like,
okay.
Here's the thing, and it's slightly related to music, but kind of going off topic. I watched some American dating show the last few weeks, and like, it's the age range of these people on this dating show are from, like, say, early 20s to, say, mid to late 30s. And after watching this dating show, it's like they'll get a girl on, and they'll ask this girl what she's looking for from a man in a relationship, and she'll say she'll mention how much they want the guy to earn, whether it's like $50,000, $100,000. Has he got any kids? Does he want married? Just gives a long list of what the girl's looking for, and then they bring it's on a format like this, and then they'll bring in one guy at a time, and if she ain't feeling the guy and the way he's talking to her, she'll say a certain word. She just shouts out this word, and the host gets rid of him. And I've noticed, right, the girls that come on they've all got the shit together. They're pretty successful girls. They might be influencers, have a good job, this, that, and the other, earning quite a bit. And then they let the guys on, and the guys are struggling to string two sentences together to even talk to her. So as a consequence of this, I'm getting all these other things in my suggestion feed saying men are not approaching women in America anymore. Men are too afraid to approach women. Women are complaining that they're not being approached by men. Men are saying that these women they can't compete with the standards that they want. I mean, is that really going on where you are? I don't know.
Men definitely do approach women at an outing. I've been approached for sure, but I feel like there's this kind of influx of men either not having it together or feeling like women should bow down to a man in a very toxic way. There's a lot of battles between, like, there's like this gender battle going on with our generation. And it's really, really annoying, because back in the day, it was like a man courts a woman, there's chivalry, there's gender roles, the woman is the nurturer, or whatever, the man is the provider, you make the house a home. But now it's like, what can a woman do for me that I can't do for myself? A woman is not a prize, a woman is da-da-da. And that's just so much social media crap. Like, it's just clouded so many men in this generation, like, hate. And it's really, really annoying, because my parents were older. So, like, I wasn't raised like that. I'm more traditional thinking. And my dad and mom were married up until the day that he passed away. So, like, I grew up with that example of, my dad being the provider. I never had to worry about anything. My mom never had to worry about anything. We all were just like a happy, solid, stable family. So seeing the men now that who maybe didn't grow up with that, or who were influenced by these influencers on social media saying that men are the prize and we don't need women and women are this and women aren't worth this. And it's just like, it's almost like you have to find that needle in a haystack who still thinks the right way. You know what I mean? And who isn't all on social media being swayed with all these like silly ideas.
There's a very worrying
problem.
There's a very worrying statistic, and they went out and researched this. They're saying 50% of men in America between the age of 18 and 30 are not looking for a relationship, whether it be serious or casual. They've just turned their backs on women, which I find very concerning, you know.
What percentage?
50%. 18 to 30-year-olds are just not bothering.
That's really sad. That's what it feels like. It feels like men just have this. There was this influencer, I don't know much about him, but his name is Kevin Samuels. And I noticed that a lot of men who really looked up to him and watched a lot of his podcasts, they have really toxic thinking like that. And they feel like women are just not valuable after watching this guy, because he basically just told women why they're not valuable, why they don't deserve the kind of man they're looking for. Like if a woman comes on there, like you said, that I want a man with 50K and this and that, he would literally tell that woman, well, why do you deserve that? You're not, you have to be at least a 7 or up, and you're not a 7, like you're about a 5. So you need to date a man that is on your level, and you're not going to find that. Like he would just speak that way. And so many men in this generation looked up to that. And that's like who inspires their thinking, which is really scary. Like he's passed away now, but I still meet men till this day who are like, yeah, men are the prize, and they love that guy. So it's like, wow, it's just crazy how impressionable our minds are at this age, and it's just sad. Like it's silly.
See, I had a feeling actually that's why I wanted to get your take on it, really, because I thought, what is going on here? You know, I'm seeing all this stuff come up. I'm like, you know, obviously we're a small island, you know, the UK. Maybe it hasn't reached us yet, you know.
Maybe I should go there. Sounds like I need to take a trip and just pack my bags.
Yeah. I mean, but you know, there's also for me the biggest always concern has always been a lot of times the black community and how the direction that we're going with our music, with our relationships, and that's also very concerning. So as I keep reiterating the importance of females and male having really positive stuff to sing about love. You can sing about broken hearts. Oh, just a brandy, broken hearted. But you just sing about real life, but but also just sing about values, which because our young kids, when they listen, they're singing along to these songs, and they're feeling like this is their messages that they're repeating, and their message, Taylor Swift has so many heartbreak songs, and like I don't need you and stuff, and young girls are singing along and stuff, but they move on, get relationships, and then you're still singing the song. So it's important to have a balance, and it's important to when we listen to one of our most classic albums, something like My Love by Mary J, or we think about Waiting to Exhale. We have songs about heartaches and breakups and finding love. That's why those two albums are probably would go down in the Black Guinness Book of Records as our real big songs, because they take us through those journeys, and they will always be forever classics because people were vulnerable in that. So being vulnerable is important, and hopefully there's no fear in being vulnerable in public.
That's why I did have you here. That was my vulnerable stance. I was like, you know what? Let me just talk about it. Finally, I'll talk about how it feels when I love. We'll get really raw here. So I felt like I needed to have that one really vulnerable track about love, and because I know a lot of people can relate to it, and it's timeless. It's a timeless thing, like you said, and it really did. It spoke to a lot of people. And it's funny because I kept meeting people who were going through like exactly what I was talking about in the song. And I would show them the song, like, hey, maybe you'll like this, what I'm talking about. I think you'll relate to it. And they're like, oh my God, like, I love this. Like, this is literally what I'm going through right now. So like, yeah, I think it's important to do that kind of thing so you can relate to people on a level and you don't, not always just be free and I'll be free is cool, but sometimes you just want to relate to others. So I definitely like to have that range. So that was kind of my purpose in doing that too.
Wow. So what we are going to do, as I said, definitely we're going to link your YouTube channel and your IG channel as well. Even the 3 videos you have on your YouTube channel, we'll put them in the playlist so that people are able to be able to see and stuff. If you had a favorite song, not yours, but just any song that's your
I was going
go-to
to say,
song.
let's have a top 5, Nandy.
Okay,
Or
what
is
would
that
be
putting you on the
what?
spot? Is that putting you on the spot, Paulyae?
Yeah,
Uh,
what will make your top 5 favorite songs? If it's top 3, whatever it's easiest.
of all time,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh my God. Okay, my top 5 favorite songs just don't get old to me. I like Who's by Jacquees, called Who's, like Who's Giving You Your Love. That's the song that's like pretty timeless to me. As far as like old school, what's my favorite Mariah Carey song? That's even hard 'cause I love so many. Um, I really like Joyride by Mariah Carey. Joyride's really beautiful. Let's see. Never Say Goodbye by JoJo. This is such a random list. Like I feel like I have so many songs that I like. I'm just throwing some out there. Just Chris Brown's. I love him so much. I really like BP by Chris Brown. It's a 2-part song on his Indigo album. And 5, let's think of a female artist. I don't know. I can't name one of my songs. Okay, well that would be a freebie. I don't know. I'm just gonna put those out there. I'm just gonna say those. I'm gonna keep the Mariah, Chris Brown, and the Jacquees. And
what are your plans for the musically for the rest of the year? Then would you say?
Promise by Jagged Edge. That's my fit. Okay, but
Okay.
for the rest of the year, I'm really gonna do a lot of heavy promotion for Left Right. I just contacted some choreographed dancers that are out here. They make really cool videos, like really cool choreography, and I'm gonna have them do some choreography to my song Left Right. So that's gonna be promotional content for me. Because with Have You Ever, if you notice, I did a lot of pre-release promotion. And since I'm throwing out Left Right very quickly after that, I'm going to do a lot of post-release promotion for Left Right. So that's going to go on for the rest of the summer. And then after that, who knows, honestly, that every day I come up with new creative ideas. I could write a song tomorrow that I'll do in October. So, but for the rest of the summer, it's going to be a whole bunch of Left Right content. Like that song, I really want it to be the summer vibe, and I want to solidify it.
Okay. Well, here's an assignment. There's if you look up Drew Hill, I'm not sure if you know them. Drew Hill?
The group, the R&B group Drew Hill.
Never heard of them. Wow. Okay. So look them up.
Okay. Look them up. There's a song they had called April Showers. So if you check April Showers, Drew Hill, and Woody, who's founded Drew Hill with Cisco, sings on that. So if you let me know what you thought about the song, and he's someone that I would try and reach out to see, hey, if there's an opportunity to collaborate on your track, you know. But yeah, you have to listen to April Showers. So
we'll send her a link. We'll send her a link to the song.
Okay, and then you let me know what your thoughts are, and then you can think about his voice, his vocal range. I mean, he did other tracks on there, but that's Cisco sang most of the lead, but that was one of the ones that he sang lead on. And then you might think how you could duet with on that, and I can reach out to him. He's out in Baltimore, but all these things are digital, so I don't know how to send the tracks and record it and send it back and stuff, but who knows? I mean, but I'm just saying it on the air. I haven't spoken to him, but I have.
You want me to see how I would fit in on that song that I'm going to be listening to?
No. That's his voice. That's his, to listen to his voice and think about how you could put up a song that would fit his vocal range.
Gotcha.
Yes.
For
She'll have
sure.
it sorted. She'll have it sorted in 10 minutes.
It's
Tell
really
me, Nanda, she'll sort it out
Yeah.
in 10 minutes.
I'll have it in an hour.
okay. Yeah. So when you do it, then then as I said, I'll reach out to my guy Rudy and say, hey, Rudy, how about jumping on this track? What his thoughts, and I'm sure you guys could try and make it happen and see how it goes.
Yeah, sounds good. No, I'll take you up on that. Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
But it's definitely been great to be having you on. I just realized that I think I had some family out in Texas, and I think a year or two ago, there was massive storm that they said that the whole place froze. Did you experience
Oh,
that?
yeah, that was a couple of years ago. 2021, we had the biggest snowstorm
Mhm.
ever, which was really random. I was stuck in the house. Thank God I had a boyfriend at that time. That was my last relationship. So I had company because our phones weren't working, Wi-Fi, TV, nothing, lights, nothing. Like, so if I were by myself at that time, that would have been really depressing.
Okay.
So
And you're
I was
singing songs about loving yourself, and all of a sudden you're like bent back on yourself, like,
that was
oh well,
before. That was before.
okay,
That was my
okay. I'm
that was
thinking,
back
what?
then. Yeah. But there's no phone, so I couldn't even talk to anyone. So that would have been boring.
Okay. Okay.
Self love,
Pa-
but yeah, so boring, you know.
Paulyae, what are you doing around the end of October?
I don't know.
Well,
What should
one of my favorite groups from the 90s is playing in Dallas on October the 28th. I think it's a Saturday night. Tony. And I know you probably never heard of them, but I'm actually thinking of coming out to see him,
come down? Oh my
But
God.
imagine if you could throw a party around that time in a new city. I don't know. It'd be worth coming out to, wouldn't it?
I will keep that in mind. Seriously, that would be freaking awesome.
And I'll drag you along to the Tony. You have no choice. You'll have to come.
You don't have to drag me. I will come for sure.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they yeah. It's hard because the Tonys are they're 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 amazing. Yeah, Raphael Sadiq. Um, I can't remember. He did Kissing You on Total. I don't know if you know the group Total. Uh,
Every time I say no, I'm like, I'm only.
yeah,
Andy, we're just showing our age. You got to
I know.
remember there is a generation gap here.
I was born in '96, so yeah.
Oh goodness, that's when Total came out in '96 with the album.
I
And
was born.
yeah, they were signed to Puff Daddy or Diddy, whatever his name is now, Diddy. They were signed to Bad Boy. 96. Okay, yeah, it's yeah, but you know Michael Jackson, right? I
Oh,
don't.
never heard of him.
just,
Yeah,
just,
Michael
just double checking this stuff. But yeah, no, it's good. I mean, consider the offer of if you do search out Drew Hill, April Shower. I mean, they have so many other songs, In My Bed, and they did a yeah, they did yeah, they've done, Let's Get Married was Jagged Edge, but they had In My Bed. They've got many songs, but April Showers is where Woody sang lead, wrote and sang the lead, and so that's his vocals. Uh, give us thoughts about that. But and I'm probably going to be looking at doing a sort of not a competition, but a sort of a sing with some of my producer friends. So trying to get new R&B singers to get some exposure, and that stuff that I'll be looking at towards the end of the year. But sort of an R&B Fresh, not competition, but festival. So of new artists and stuff. So we'll watch out for that. But definitely, it's been.
We could have an R&B Fresh festival in Dallas. The way she's got the crowd, get the artists there.
I mean, it's that. I mean, that. Times have changed, but back in the day, it was always New York, LA. Then we got Atlanta. So, yeah,
That's like it's just kind of a merry-go-round. That's why I decided to do my own thing out here because it's so much trickery out here, and it's a lot of people going in circles kind of thing. and a lot of artists out here, like very much, or just people in general, are very much self-centered. Like people don't typically want to figure out a way for multiple people to win on one team. It's more like, how can I come up and only focus on me, and I only care about myself, and I want everybody to love me while I hate everybody. So as you usually meet a lot of people like that. Not everyone's like that, but you meet a lot of people like that in Dallas, and that's kind of a lot of the culture, like a lot of selfishness, which is why I tried, like, I branched out and I decided to bring people together, like to, promote myself and just kind of celebrate with everybody and have everybody network. That's not something that a lot of people do out here. So it's a lot of talent, but it just needs more integration, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's as I said, we're living in a very different space, and everyone, the lockdown changed a lot of people. Social media and technology have changed people. It's helped in some ways, but it's not in other ways. But as I said, if you stay true to yourself and be that beacon, you can just change the world one person at a time.
Yeah, that's the
And
goal.
yes, that is definitely the goal. But it's been a real pleasure talking to you and listening to you. Um, we're both music enthusiasts, and but we also honored the fact that you were able to be vulnerable in this space and still feel like, okay, it's okay. It's
Thank you
okay.
for allowing me to be vulnerable in this space. That's not something I do often. That
Is
was
she
my first
leaving us already?
time
Nami,
talking about.
is she leaving us already?
Yeah,
Huh?
no, but
Just joking, I'm joking.
yeah, but no, but Stevie, but what she's saying, it is important to um because okay, outside the fact that I am a therapist, so but I so being able to to sit in silence and allow a guest to be vulnerable is no problem. But to me, it's important because I want people who watch to realize that actually, it's okay, because there are going to be a lot of people like similar to what you've experienced and still thinking that they have to be strong. Men as well. When my dad passed away during lockdown, and I had to be strong. But when I was on a Zoom call with some of the guys I went to high school with, and when I was trying to explain what happened to my dad, I broke down. And that was the most important thing that happened, because I didn't realize in front of 30 people I was just broke down, and I needed to do that. And so since then, we've had anyone who's been on who's spoken about struggles, and it's important. Both men, um, both women, especially us with it who are black, but also men like Steve and I who try and be strong and think we need to hold it together, and that's why people watch this to hear about the artist, but also want to see real people be real and realize, okay, actually, it's okay.
You tricked me into a surprise therapy session. That's why therapist. God, you got me. It
No,
makes it makes sense.
no. But as I said, Stevie would know that we know we're doing this because we do want to make support R&B, especially new artists. We know there's the platforms aren't as big as they used to be, and it's much harder. And you're putting a lot of quality not just in your singing and but also your visuals as well, and and you're doing it your way. So hence that's why I thought about, I don't offer my good friend Woody to anyone. In fact, I haven't even told him. So but I know that if you did something and and you listened to his voice and thought, I could do this, it'll be awesome. It'd be great to see what magic you guys can create.
Oh my goodness, thank you. I appreciate all so much. This has just been amazing.
Yes, Stevie. Final thoughts and words.
Like I say, anyone watching, do support Paulyae. Do support her, please. We really want to break these artists and do our bit for them. And thank you, Paulyae, for your time as always.
Thank you for your time. It's been amazing, you guys. This just made my day.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So, Paul, yes, I'm sure we'll hear more from you in either soon or later. But we would be looking out July 1st as well for the next single party, and well, not single party, but the next single and
Left, right.
the next video, left, right, being the visuals coming out. I guess when in the pool party stuff as well. So that'll be fun.
Well, sure. Thank you guys so much.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Bye bye.
Okay. Well, Stevie, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, definitely, yeah, somebody with a head and shoulder when it comes to, doing things her way, and that to me, it's really, very important, that you're not just sitting down waiting for somebody to discover them on IG, realizing you have to find your own way. So that's really impressive of her.
Yeah, like I say, it just you know what, when I told you about it, I thought, come on, Namdi, let's get her on here. Let's, I just know the views of this platform of Halftime Chat they'll really enjoy music. I'm sure they will.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. But as I said, one of the things that you're doing is really getting an ear for these talents and stuff, and for us to be able to talk to them and just see how life is much more different these days. But as I said, that's definitely a good find, and yeah, I can't wait for our next R&B Fresh guest.
What's to come?
Yeah, more to come. Okay, guys, we will see you on the next R&B Fresh show in due time. Take care.